Welcome back to Cityline, everyone. With us for this segment is Bill Baarsma, president of the board for the Tacoma Historical Society, and the man who knows everything about Tacoma. Hello, Bill. It's wonderful to see you, and welcome back to Cityline.
Well, thanks so much. I'm always pleased to be a part of this program. It's a lot of fun.
Bill, thank you. Can you give us an update on how the Tacoma Historical Museum is doing? Is it open? And if so, what COVID protocols do you have in place to keep both staff and visitors safe?
Well, we, of course, request that people wear masks. It's somewhat of a confined space, so we're very, very conscious of that and very concerned about that. We are open Wednesday through Saturday from 11 to 3. We have a new exhibit that we've just opened up, and we're very excited about. It tells the story of Tacoma's LGBTQ community, and I think our curator's done a beautiful job in presenting that story. A lot of interactive opportunities for people who visit. We also have another exhibit that's ongoing too, Timber Town, the story of Tacoma's lumber industry, wood products industry. So those are going concurrently. We have a nice little retail store for people who are interested in Tacoma-centric items, either as gifts or for themselves. And so 11 to 3, Wednesday through Saturday, we're at 406 Tacoma Avenue South. We have off-street parking, no admission fee. We'd love to see you.
Wonderful. Now, that's a new location for you, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Correct. It's fairly new. During the midst of the pandemic, we essentially had to move from our location at the Provident building in downtown Tacoma. We frankly needed more space. And so we have 6,000 square feet now, which is twice the amount of space that we had at the Provident building for about the same rental price. And so it was something that we needed to do. Of course, our archives need to be cared for, and we need space for them as well. We have nearly 20,000 items that tell Tacoma's story, and so that provides space for that as well. So we're a larger location.
That's wonderful. That's a great problem to have, is you have too much to fit in one location. You have to get bigger for that. Tacoma has such a rich history, and I know it's wonderful that you are able to curate that for all of us here in Tacoma. Now, I don't think, did you cover admission prices on there? I don't know if I heard that. Is there an admission price? What is it?
Yeah, there is no admission fee. But of course, we always encourage people to become members of the Tacoma Historical Society. So we'd love to have people do, and they can, by the way, join online at our website. They can join and become a part of our organization, and they'll receive a newsletter, and they get a discount at our retail store, and also discount in some of the events that we put on during the course of the year. Hopefully, we'll be returning to those events as we move through the end of the COVID challenges.
Wonderful. Now, you were talking about events, and one of the Tacoma Historical Society's biggest events of the year is the Destiny Dinner, which I've attended before. It's a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And this year it honored the 20th anniversary of Salishan. Tell us about that.
Well, that's a big story, and it's an exciting story. What the Tacoma Housing Authority has done in terms of a planned community in Salishan, what's called New Salishan, is extraordinary. I tell a story that I was attending a conference of mayors meeting in Los Angeles in 2007, and just finished a conference panel that I chaired, and a staff member came up to me and said, Mayor, Tacoma's made the front page of the New York Times. He saw my look. And so, no, Mayor, it's good news. It's about New Salishan. It's about your Hope 6 program in Tacoma. You've made it. And I went off to the gift shop, got a copy of the New York Times, and there we were right on the front page. And I think I realized at that point just how profound this project is and how exciting it is. And nothing quite like it anywhere in the country. Certainly the largest redevelopment project west of the Mississippi, and in New Salishan, which provides affordable housing for people. You have home ownership as well as rentals, people together as part of that community. And there's actually a platinum LEED certified neighborhoods, only place west of the Mississippi. And what that means is that they reach the highest level of sustainability. All the utilities are undergrounded. It's a wonderful place to live, something to be very proud of. And so we were celebrating the 20th anniversary, and in particular, Michael Mirra, who's the retired executive director. We honored Michael with our Star of Destiny Award at the dinner. The Asian Pacific Cultural Center came right behind us and honored him with their Unsung Hero Award, which he richly deserves. And so we were very excited to have the opportunity to honor Michael and to tell the story of New Salishan. What an incredible success story for Tacoma.
That is absolutely amazing. And there's a documentary about Salishan that was produced for the event and is currently airing on TV Tacoma. How did that whole documentary program come about?
Well, that's a good question. You know, sometime back I was watching TV Tacoma and I saw these promos for a documentary on the cleanup of the Foss Waterway, which I thought was great, by the way. That's another terrific success story, I must say. And as I was thinking about it, and of course, that cleanup took place to a large degree during my terms as mayor. I also came to the realization that, while this was going on, New Salishan was also being built as well. And I felt that also deserved a documentary for that story to be told. And so the Tacoma Historical Society reached out to a foundation. We received a grant. We hired a terrifically talented videographer, and we put together, by the name of Jesse Kuhn, put together a beautiful documentary. And we're pleased indeed that it'll be on TV Tacoma. And of course, we premiered it at our Destiny Dinner at the Eastside Community Center.
I would say Salishan is it's a community of transition. This is still a strong community. You know, we're still a community that believe in our families, that believe in the work that we do as far as living here. This is a community of resilience.
Michael Mirra used to say that blood, sweat, tears, and marriages were shed over this development. And there have been so many people that have dedicated so much to contributing to the success of the redevelopment and now the vital neighborhood that it is. There are lots of stories. It was not always easy.
Housing is related to almost every other civic interest. It's hard to talk, for example, about education without asking if the children are adequately housed. Child welfare and housing, wage progression, economic development, transportation policy and housing, mental health, physical health and housing, justice and racial justice. Developing New Salishan was ambitious. It was the largest redevelopment of its kind west of the Mississippi River. THA tore down and tore up 200 urban acres in a $300 million redevelopment that took everything THA had.
So that's a message to all of you out there. Keep watching TV Tacoma scheduling to see when you can see that documentary.
Right.
Now, Bill, you are the Tacoma Historical Society board president.
Right.
I joked earlier that you're the man who knows everything about Tacoma. Why does Tacoma's history interest you?
Well, of course, I was born and raised here, you know, so I lived most of my life, with the exception of my 4 years in graduate school, right here in Tacoma. And my grandfather was, you know, a real history buff, and as a kid growing up, you know, he would read history to me, and so I got very interested. And around the dinner table at the Barsma household, we talk about Tacoma history in particular. A lot of discussion about the mountain and the rightful name of the mountain, you know, and we never mentioned the name of the British admiral that the mountain's named after. That we never uttered his name in our household. It was always Mount Tacoma or the mountain. And I became interested in that story as well. But I'm a graduate of Stadium High School, and there's an interesting story in itself that relates to the railroad, and it was once a hotel, and of course the Stadium Bowl was at one time the largest publicly owned venue of its kind in the United States back when it was first built. So there are a lot of things that cued my interest, and I'm just a kind of a history buff as well. I didn't major in history at the University of Puget Sound, but I loved the history courses that I took and the professors. I majored in political science, took a lot of history courses, and it's always been a real interest of mine.
Wonderful. Thank you, Bill. Thank you for your passion and sharing that with all of us, particularly in your role as the board president of the Tacoma Historical Society, which your tenure is ending at the end of this month. And first, I want to thank you for all that you've done to preserve the history of Tacoma for future generations, in addition to all the other amazing work you've done over your career for our great city. What are some of the highlights that you're going to take away from the Tacoma Historical Society?
Well, you know, we've come a long way. And I think one of the highlights as far as the Historical Society is concerned is that we've professionalized the operation. And when I started, it was a volunteer-driven organization, and we were kind of squirreled away in a place that no one could find. And so I felt it was important that we began to really think big and raise funds and reach out to people and bring in a professional person to direct the operation. We have a great managing director, Jessica Smith, and she has a staff, including our curator, our registrar, and our communications manager. And so we now have a staff. We've established ourselves in a space in which we can care for our archives. We can continue to tell a story and keep Tacoma history alive. You know, I think the city of Tacoma deserves a Tacoma Historical Society that we can be proud of. We've got a ways to go, and we're going to eventually move to Old City Hall. We are part of that proposal that Eli Marino presented to the city when he secured that building. We look forward to that. And I might add one other thing. Next year will be the 150th anniversary of the city of Tacoma being selected as the terminus of the second Transcontinental Railroad. And so we've reached out to the Burlington Northern Railroad. They're aware of our interest in putting together a series of events during the course of the year, in which we will essentially tell that story and how they eventually came here, why they came here, and why that was important to Tacoma's history. So a lot of things are in the works.
Wow. It's just fascinating. Yeah. Every time I hear you talk about Tacoma, I can just sit there and listen more and more and more. And so, Bill, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us today. Thank you for heading up to Tacoma Historical Society and making it so much better every single year that you've been a part of that. We will definitely miss seeing you there, but something tells me we're not going to miss seeing you around town, because you're somebody who's very visible and always making sure that Tacoma is staying on the right path for everything. So, Bill, thank you for being with us on Cityline today. Everyone, we'll be right back after this quick break.